mind is set, my grind is set, my heart on ice cold. I'm only here to even a score. Whoa. My mind is set, my
Welcome back to another episode of the Catch Up on the Glory Reds channel. A lot to cover today. I know it's been a while. I know I've been off air. Well, myself individually, these Ben has been doing his things, But yeah, welcome back to episode 8. A lot's been happening since the last time we spoke. But we're going to cover what's been happening recently at the club. For example, Jadon Sancho, addressing the Rashford situation, the interview with Gary Neville and Erik Ten Hag. Then we're going to, switch it up a little bit and, give you guys our opinion on who we want to see leaving the club, who would want to keep, which players we think are going to go out on loan. Definitely going to talk a little bit about the FA Cup final, and then we're going to end the show off talking about where United are going to finish at the end of the season. But yeah, before all of that, what's good, my guy? What's happening?
Pastor D. Salute.
Yeah, man.
Salute. What's
Oh,
good?
yeah, man.
What's good?
It
It's been
feels
a
good.
minute, bro. I'm just, as you can see,
Yeah,
I'm beaming.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
beaming because
yeah.
I'm happy.
Yeah, man. Same here, fam. Same here, man. A lot's been going on, but all that stuff we can get into later, But I'm just really happy, with the stuff that you put out as well. I saw those shorts. I'm like, yeah, just representing Glory Reds,
Nah.
when all these guys are coming. Man, I'm telling you, man, it's been crazy this week, man. These past 2 weeks at the club has just been chaos. Internally
Bro,
on the pitch, with the manager, with the players, with the fans, we can't catch a break. We
bro,
can't catch a
like,
break, man.
it's crazy, D. Like, and you know what's funny? You think we'll get used to it because we've been doing this since the beginning of the season.
Yeah,
Bro, we are tired.
yeah,
We are tired of everything. Yeah, it's been a lot. It
yeah.
has
Nah,
been
man, it's
a
it's been a
lot.
lot, and I've recently started watching Designated Survivor again, and if anyone knows that series, you'll know that the president can't catch a fucking break. He can't. In that Oval Office, it's madness, and I feel that's how it is with us, man. It literally
Mm,
got to a point where I stopped checking the league table because I'm like, I don't even know what to even find when I go there. So to my
mm,
surprise, was
mm.
sixth. And I'm like, how the hell are we sixth? We were seventh. And the last time I checked, Newcastle have been winning their games and we've been drawing, you know what I mean, losing and just coming out with like weird results. And I'm like, how the hell did we actually end up in sixth place? Till today, I'm still confused. And I don't even have the
Juju.
energy to figure it out.
It's
Man,
juju, my friend. It's
like,
juju. Like there's no
hey,
other way.
it's not making sense. Every time I look at it, I'm like, nah, I don't have the energy. You know what? If was sixth, was sixth. I'm
Mm,
not even gonna try and mess with the with this godly intervention. But yeah, man.
yeah,
But
yeah.
anyway, six may not even be enough because besides
No, it's
United
not.
stuff, I was watching something about the new Europa rules and whatever for next season. It's a bit complicated, and maybe we'll do an episode about it. But
Okay.
there's this coefficient points that's going on around Europe. Depending on
Mm,
how clubs perform well in the European competitions. I'm sure that's not news
mm,
to everybody, but
yeah.
there's actually a point system, and I think sitting on top is second is Germany. First is, I think,
Italy.
Italy, yeah? So it's Italy,
Yeah.
Germany, and then we're sitting at third. So it all depends on the guys who are still left in the European competitions to do well, for us to have that fifth place qualifying spot. Right now we're at
But
third. So
it's
that means
hard.
that currently, English teams, it's top four, it's not top five. So even if we do finish fifth, it depends on how the other English clubs perform in Europe, for us to make the cut. So
Mm,
Champions League essentially is a wrap for us. And then obviously they
yeah.
spoke about, changing the system of Champions League. It's going to become like what you call, it's almost like a league setup, and not really a knockout setup. But like I said, we'll go talk all of that in another episode.
We'll have an
Let's
episode for that.
yeah, we'll dedicate an episode for that, explaining everything in detail. But yeah, man, let's get down to the nooks and crannies of the show. Jadon
Mm.
Sancho. Um, yeah, it's we can't run away from our problems at United.
My
You think we'll
God.
nip something in the bud, it's done and dusted, and it somehow it always comes back full circle. And the
Yeah,
Jadon Sancho thing has come back full circle. They beat,
yeah.
was it
PSG.
Atletico Madrid, PSG 1-0. Jadon Sancho didn't score, but he had an outstanding performance. He recorded a record. He has also recorded a record individually for himself in Germany. Everything's looking sunshines and roses. It's looking like Ten Hag fucked up. They're putting a proper spin on it. They're putting a proper spin on this story, and they're just overshadowing like the deeper issues. You know, they're overshadowing the
Uh,
deeper issues. So
mm,
yeah, man, I've been talking. So let me give you the opportunity to talk now before I jump into what I have to say about this whole situation. But obviously, he has come out and said that get sharp. I don't want to get back to United, regardless of whether Ten Hag is still going to be manager at that club or not. For him, he's just written United off. He's just like, nah, I'm cool here at Dortmund until things, of course, until another opportunity comes. But definitely does not want to return back to Old Trafford. What are your thoughts, man?
mm. Bye. Stay there. Adios, amigo. Sayonara. I bid you
Yeah,
well. Arrivederci. Stay there. It's a wrap.
yeah.
I'm good. I am good without Sancho. Like
Mm,
it's a like if we can find a way for us to actually get rid of him, so we can clear off his wage bill because he's like 320 what 25 or I don't know how much that 300,000. That's a lot of money for somebody
yeah,
who's taking a piss at the club.
yeah,
And it's
yeah,
creating unnecessary issues because now we're looking to get rid of certain players because there's no funds, to fund this and that. Let's get rid of Sancho. Like, let's get rid of him. I know they'll never do this, but if we could pay him off, let's do it. Let's
yeah,
do it. Yeah, like I'm done, dude. But I wanna get into this little thing that everybody's going mad about because dude, I swear
yeah,
to you, it is so funny how I want to say I don't want to use the word weak, but people are weak.
mm,
People are weak because the way Sancho got the praise for that game, like, don't get me wrong, I wasn't hating. I actually gave him praise for his
yeah,
game.
yeah,
You know what I mean? But the way he's being talked about, it's like I don't know. Prime Ronaldo has been reincarnated. I don't know. I don't understand. And then it's based off a game. And then if you look at the game, D,
yeah,
if we want to be really, really critical, Sancho did focal that game. If we want to be very, very critical, Sancho did focal. Individually, he did well. Like if there was a like if I'm sure he won the man of the match. So individually, he won. But as a collectively, if he had applied what he was individually doing into that Dortmund side, Dortmund was supposed to smack PSG at least 3-4. You understand? Because only one.
mm,
Now, but the way people are talking about it, because the first thing that came out was Sancho's completed more passes and dribbles than he did in this first half than his entire time at Manchester United. Oh, you see what a change in scenario in scenery does. Hey, this Erik Ten Hag was wrong to do. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Listen, boy played well. Let's give him his flowers for that. Like, let's not take it further.
yeah,
Please stop. Stop it right there. Don't try and blow this fucker's horn. Like, sorry, let's not blow this thing out of proportion for no reason. He played well. Everybody has that moment. Footballers have that moment where this game, for some reason, you're just on it. Sancho was on it that game, D. Like, it was undeniable. You understand? And we give him
yeah,
praise for that. But the moment they start to say that, oh, you see, this is what happens when you change scenes, or when you go to a different place, or when you're having, I'm like, nah, now you guys are taking it too far because you guys don't actually know. Now, if you're trying to be like this, let's go to Sancho's stats. Let's go to Sancho's stats. He's played 10 games for Borussia Dortmund, scored 2 goals, provided 1 assist. But What? Is that enough? Why are you guys not talking about that in the same beaming, glowing way? Why? It's just this one game. Then you guys just start. And for me, the reason why I attacked back or I react was because the club was, these guys were taking a dig at the club. And the people that were taking a dig at the club don't understand the true Hollywood story of what happened behind here. Do you understand? Like, opposition fans, they don't understand. They just see the scenario and just like, I know this player is being mistreated. This guy, why is it? Because, dude, I kid you not, everybody was just like, you see what happens when you change the scene. You see what happens when you go there. Different environment. This, the gaffer's wrong. But I'm like, and then I try to look at those that are saying it. Everybody that's saying that is not a United fan. You understand? And then I'm sitting
Yeah.
there thinking, come on. No. If you guys are going to praise Sancho for his game, do that. But the moment you start making it transition into something else, I'm not gonna have it. So if you guys are gonna sit there and say, "Hey, we made a mistake with Sancho," that's your business. Let's break down the game. Because now you're touching very, very touchy pot. Let's talk about the game. Then I started breaking down Sancho's game. And I'm like, for me personally, the best player on the pitch that day was Adeyemi. Because he was bombing back and forth, taking on players. There's a difference. Sancho was not tracking back as much as that boy was doing. That boy was supporting. Sancho was just his dribbles, which we know he can do. Do you understand what I mean? Sancho one-on-one, he's the locksmith. You know what I mean? Like, he's the guy that we want for teams that sit deep, that park the bus. He's very technical on the ball. He doesn't give it away easily. And he knows how to maneuver those little threats and passes there and there. That's what he's good for. So he was in that moment where he found himself having to dribble and maneuver himself, which is what he does. He's a street baller. But no, the entire world started. Oh, world this, world class. Oh, Sancho this. Oh, the dribbles that. And I'm like, nah, I'm not having it. But that's
Yeah.
why I had what I had to say about Sancho. But I was
Yeah.
I was impressed. I was impressed by his performance. But I think the overreaction from the people just made me be like, relax.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with you. And I think the overreaction is coming from the fact that Sancho was a beast of a player before he left Dortmund. Because, I mean, literally at that time, we're talking Sancho, Jude Bellingham, Erling Haaland. You know, those are the trio that are making a lot of the waves and headlines across Europe. Those are the three players that a lot of the big teams were gunning for, you know, almost like the holy trinity of players, right? Everyone went their own direction and did well for their respective clubs. Sancho comes to United and doesn't really have the impact that Erling Haaland has at Man City or Jude Bellingham has at Real Madrid. So there's a lot of expectation for him to continue doing what he was doing at Dortmund. And unfortunately, he wasn't able to achieve that due to injuries, due to not being starting because of issues with managers, due to, you know, mental health issues or whatever. I'm just paraphrasing here. I'm not saying he had mental health issues, but obviously, you know, those stories about him having to go away and get, you know what I mean, situated with his mental state before he could get back. So I think this over exaggeration has come from the point of during those years that he lost, you know, playing, you know, football and living up to his standards. A lot of people probably thought he fell off. He could never be that player again, you know, and he was just going to continue his career as this mediocre player. So I think that overreaction is coming from the fact that he's now looking like the Sancho that we knew before he came back to Manchester United. So people are looking towards that than anything else. Now, when you
But in one
spoke
game,
about, so now that game in particular, I didn't watch it, so I'm not going to make any judgment about it. But, you know, I was reading somewhere where they're talking about, you know, Sancho at Man United and stuff. Like sometimes some of these players are not fit for all different types of clubs or situations. Where you get this very talented player, but you know he just doesn't fit. He's just not the player that we're looking for at United. And because he's playing in a system that doesn't suit his game, you know, it really brings him down, and then he looks lesser of a player than he actually is. Like you said, we're giving him his flowers. He played very well. He's doing his thing, whatever. And I know you did mention that, let's look at the stats in 10 games at Dortmund. But again, you also have to look at it from a different point of view to say this man hasn't been playing football for a good 3 seasons, and he's just coming back. And with him coming back, he's starting to show signs of old Sancho. You get what I'm saying? So I 100% agree with you to say that, look, the stats are not all good. It's almost like the Greenwood situation. We accepted that once he starts playing football again, that first season is not going to be good. He's going to start getting back to his old self. And you can sort of say the same thing about Sancho, right?
No.
That he hasn't been playing football for a long time. He was exiled. He wasn't training. He hasn't been playing football. He returns to Dortmund and now he's starting to play and everything like that. So he's now starting to look like his old self again. And then with that being said as well, he's also now achieving these stats or these breaking records or whatever, So I think that's where that over-exaggeration is coming from. Now, I'm just getting now listen to me, man. I'm not trying to give excuses or reasons or justify or back Jadon Sancho. I'm just saying that this is why I think those over-exaggerations are coming from. Not that I agree to say, oh, look what he's doing. Let's bring him back to Manchester United. Because I honestly believe that his player profile does not suit being at Manchester United. At Manchester United, the way Ten Hag wants to play is that he wants all his players to be pressing players, running back and forth for the ball, this and that. That's not Sancho's game. It's like expecting Ronaldo to do that. It's like expecting Samir Nasri at the time when he was at Man City to be doing that. Those players are not those type of players. Forget it. You can't expect Van Persie to be doing what you want him to do. Van Persie, he stays up front, he scores goals. That's what he does. If you want to tell him to start chasing back for balls, it's going to cause more harm than anything else. And unfortunately, Ten Hag wants his wingers to fall back. He wants his wingers to go back and get the ball and help with defensive duties. And Sancho is not that player, which means that he's not a good fit for Manchester United. But if Dortmund are playing a different style where he's not required to go back, then he's the perfect fit for them. And that's where he'll probably play and record his best football in his career. So I'm not going to slag him more for doing what Ten Hag wants him to do, and he doesn't do. I'm not going to slag him more for that. The only thing that we can say is that that's what Ten Hag wants. He's the manager of Manchester United. If you're a player coming into this club, or if you're a player currently at that club and you can't get together with that program, unfortunately, you need to leave. As much of a talent as you are, as much as maybe some of the people in the fan base like you, I still like Sancho. Yes, I am angry with him with the things that he did. I'm not going to deny his talent. He's a talented football player, but he's just not the football player for us. And that's something I'm cool to live with moving forward. So that's what I'm going to say about Jadon Sancho.
I wanted to add a little bit on something on a point that you made. You mentioned that his goals and assists are for somebody that hasn't played in a while, which absolutely makes sense. But my only annoyance happens now when he scores that one goal or that provides that one assist. The fucking noise that comes from that.
Yeah.
It's like, can you shut up? Shut up. There's nothing. Shut. But no, this is what happens when you change scenery, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, and it's always the fans and it's always these pundits, and you'll be like, seriously, guys, are you like,
yeah.
I get it. But we are not creating a scenario where Benito now has to be defensive, has to now make a point and say, nah, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
It's 2 assists in what? Like now, him playing, not playing for 6 months, like what you had mentioned, like you made a valid point. But then now that is counterattacked because of these people are now saying that, now you see what happens when you unleash the beast. Do you see what happens when you let the player play? And then you'll be like,
You know what it is? It's like people who quote the Bible. Like they'll quote whatever fits them in that time, but then they don't want to, quote the whole verse. They'll just pick a portion from it. They'll just be like da 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 da. Like nah. Read the whole verse. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing with Jadon Sancho. Like, sharp, you scored a goal. You know what I mean? But that does not cover the whole context of that verse about him. You know,
You
tell
see,
us the whole
you see,
story about him. So yeah, that's what I was saying. I 100% agree with you. Like that goal does not overshadow, you know, what was happening at Manchester United and
oh,
how things are going about. And now, like you said, it leaves us to at a point where we become defensive because they'll be
yes,
like Sancho scored that goal, and then now they're using that as ammunition to take shots at Ten Hag. You see, he
yes,
scored. Why were you not starting him? You see, he
you
scored.
see,
Why did you banish him? And
bro.
that should not be the context of that conversation. You know, it should be like, you see, he scored, you know, because he's just playing in an environment that suits him better. He can't be playing for a prestigious club like Manchester United with the pressures and whatever. You know, he's got a certain style of football that he wants to play. He's not adaptable, you know, and that's just how it is, and we keep it moving from there. But that should not be used as ammunition against Erik Ten Hag because that's got nothing to do with the manager. The player couldn't
You-
play to the styles and
Yeah,
standards.
yeah.
Party. That's it.
And you know the thing that was even annoying me was the way he was getting groupies. Some of these ex-players jumping on him, hugging him, and making him look like, dude, it was never your fault. It was never your fault. You didn't do anything. You're just a player. These guys don't know what you're capable of. Shut them
Yeah,
up. Like,
yeah.
and then there was one guy who was busy saying, now he's even feeling justification. Now look,
Mm,
Erik Ten Hag kept on picking Anthony, Anthony, Anthony. Look at Sancho, and I'm just like, yo, like, okay, man, I was just like, I was burning inside. You know, I was just like,
yeah,
this is madness. I can't believe
yeah,
people are really saying this, but you know what? It's cool.
yeah. No, 100%. We leave it there and we keep it moving,
Yeah,
you know.
keep it
But
moving. Yeah,
yeah, man, since we're still on the topic of players, you know, obviously it doesn't end there. Our
moving
golden
to his
child,
boy.
his boy, for
Our
firing shots
golden
at the
child.
whole crew. No one's safe.
Bruh.
Hey man, this is this track season, man. Yo.
Ah,
And
ah,
we're coming in
ah.
strong. We're coming in strong. But yeah, man,
Oh,
Rashford, you know, I know the story is a bit old, but I just feel like, you know, I feel like we need an
we
opportunity to,
didn't go. Yeah,
yeah, we need an opportunity to address it. And, you know, the first time I was sympathetic. This time I'm not. You know, this time I'm not.
yeah, ne-
I'm
yeah,
sorry. You
never.
know, tomorrow I tried to play the moderator. You know, I tried to be on the fence. I tried to see things from Rashford's point of view, you know, but I'm sorry. And I gave him a chance. Like, dude, I hear you. I hear you. I'll stop. You know what I mean? We'll stop putting your name on our podcast. We'll stop using you on our thumbnails. It's fine. Just go do what you're supposed to do on that bitch. You know what I'm saying? Go find your fire. Because that's what we expected after he did his thing. Because remember, after he did his thing, the next game he goes and scores a goal. And it's like, sharp, we've heard you. You know what I mean? We've kept quiet, you're playing your game, you know, but nah.
You're not
This
having
time,
his bullshit.
this time,
Ah,
shut up.
man.
This time, get out. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Fuck off. You know what I mean? I don't care anymore. I don't care. If you can't stand the pressure, get out. You know,
Get
I
out.
get it. I get it
Hey.
that you've come from nothing to something. You're allowed to
Ah,
spend however you want to spend, but 350 a week, fuck out of here. I'm sorry. That comes with
bro,
expectations. I refuse.
bro,
I
bro.
refuse. I refuse. Ben, I'm not having it. You know,
Hey, thank
if he
you.
wants to cry and
Welcome.
complain, get out. Get
It's
out.
crazy.
Go to fucking Coventry or whatever. Go play for Bournemouth. Don't
Hey,
stay at United. Be the
go to
golden
PSG.
boy, most earner, this and this and this, and then you still want to come and say, no, you're abusing me, this. Nah, fam. Nah. Dude, what you've done this season, I'm sorry. And a lot of fans would have excused or forgiven you hadn't you not done the stuff that you did off the pitch, the Belfast and all of
Exactly.
this and all of
Yeah.
that, and flashing all your stuff and whatever. Look, man, we get that you need to have a personal life, but the type of caliber that you are and the club that you're playing for and the salary that you're earning and the type of role model and figure that you're supposed to be, and then looking also at what United is going through this season, you have to have that maturity. You have to have that
Mm,
responsibility, you know, of making sure you do the right things
mm,
in the way you display yourself. I mean, look how much backlash our captain got with that incident in Greece. And we're like, dude, you can't do that. You're the captain of Manchester United. Unfortunately, that's what comes with being the captain. That's what comes with being and if you can't stand that pressure and that heat and you can't say, look, I need to, you know what I mean? Then you've got no business being in that limelight. You've got no business being in that position. So if Rashford is not going to be doing what he needs to do, but then he's getting gifted, so much, being praised, poster boy, salary, blah, 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 and you can't deliver on the pitch. I'm sorry, we have the right to come and, judge you however we want to judge you. That's just what it is. That's just what it is.
This Rashford situation, it has sparked some very, very interesting conversations. Even conversations that I never even thought, like avenues I never thought we could even go in. So yesterday I came across one topic, like one show. I don't know if you know this guy, True Geordie. This guy had KG, had this other guy that does this shoe thing. Like a lot of these guys that you recognize from YouTube.
Yes.
These guys were talking about football, which is surprising because I thought True Geordie was a guy who'd like to just talk about other stuff, like
PG he just talks about news in general, entertainment stuff.
These guys had a football topics session about Rashford and Sancho and stuff, and that conversation was the one. And they were talking about Rashford, and they were like, dude, Callum Wilson, né? They described Callum Wilson and Marcus Rashford.
Yeah.
Like, you see Callum Wilson, that guy's getting 50 grand at Newcastle.
Yeah.
And he hardly plays. Like, most of the time he's injured. He starts off the season very well, scores his goals, gets injured, then he disappears, then he'll come back, score goals, get injured. Like that's how it is. Bro, those guys were saying I think there's only one time, and it's probably last season, where Callum Wilson had been doing that and still scored more goals than Rashford. And they were like, this guy is getting paid 50K. This guy
not even 50 mil.
Not 50K a week.
Wow.
This is Callum Wilson.
Wow.
He doesn't even play full season, bro.
Yeah.
He doesn't, but he pumps in goals. And they were like, so the conversation were like, bruh, this Rashford thing, like, we need to stop holding on to bullshit.
Yeah.
And this is what I was saying. Like, remember, this is what we were talking about in the beginning. Like, like, do we really want to go through this up and down with Rashford and giving him all this cash? Like, what's the point?
Exactly.
You see, and, bro, that blew my mind.
Yeah.
Callum Wilson, and here we are, busy picky about strikers, about this. You're like, oh, this player from this team, he's not a Manchester United player. But that person is scoring goals. That person is pumping in goals. We are stuck with people that are so entitled.
Yeah.
Bro, Rashford and Erik Ten Hag, I read that there's friction. In the sense that the first time when he went out partying after the Manchester derby, the manager called him in, reprimanded him about it, and then he did the Belfast thing, right?
Yeah.
Apparently, ever since then, him and Rashford have not really had that father-son thing going. Like last year.
Yeah.
Like the only time they get to communicate is only during match day instructions and stuff like that. But that close bond has sort of drifted. And apparently they're trying to get Rashford in. I don't know, that there's some showdown talks. I don't know if that happened yesterday or they're going to happen, but they're trying to mend the Erik Ten Hag situation. And I'm just sitting here thinking, and I'm like, bruh, you see these entitled kids.
Yep.
Do you see what we have to deal with at Manchester United?
Yep.
How ridiculous is it that we have, like, this boy, our golden boy, somebody that we thought gets it, he doesn't get it. Rashford doesn't get it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He doesn't get it. And
he doesn't.
It will never happen, but I'm very comfortable with letting him go. I'm very comfortable because I heard I saw that Arteta would be interested in bringing Rashford in or PSG.
I don't care.
I'm like, listen,
I don't care. He can go to Arsenal. I don't care. I don't care. It will not shake me. Dude, I do not care. I'm done. I'm honestly done with Rashford because again, to your point, he's just getting paid so much money for what? For what? You know, I was even reading somewhere that, you know, like I said, the Ineos guy said that, look, everyone's on the chopping table. And I was reading somewhere about, you know, Rashford saying that, no, you refuse to leave the club. What are you refusing, my guy? Like, no one
Mm,
wants you. No one wants you, you know? And the thing is, it's so sad because I hated when the fans, like us, the fans, get to this point where
you see.
this blooming, talented young player coming up from the academy, doing so well in the beginning stages of his career, has now got us to that point, you know, at this club where
Where
we're
we
like,
could have
we don't,
lent him.
dudes, I don't like it, fam. I
Me too,
honestly don't like it. I would rather we part ways mutually. You know what I mean? We
bro.
part ways on good terms, not on these terms. And you know,
And
honestly, I think him being there has just created a very bad atmosphere or influence for people like Borga, Nacho, and Anthony and whatever. Because when you look at it, Anthony, Garnacho, they used to be selfish players, you know, bombing up front. Now all of a sudden they're starting to play like Rashford. And I'm
bro,
like, this is Rashford influence. You know,
it's a
I want to
ripple
be like
effect.
Rashford. I also want to get that 350 million a week. I'm gonna go out there and try and be the glory boy, dribble past everybody, not find passes and try and score worldies. Nah.
See,
Because I'm just seeing Garnacho and Anthony's game starting to move like Rashford. Literally the other day when I was watching the match, watching Anthony and Garnacho play, I'm like, fuck, man, this is so reminiscent of Rashford, man.
mm,
Their
oh,
gameplay
when
moving
Garnacho,
when they were attacking, I'm like, this is so
yeah,
Rashford-esque. You know what I mean? Like, why are they
yeah.
behaving like Rashford? Where is this coming
Why you
from?
being, why you being
Dude,
selfish? Have
why
some
are you being
fun.
selfish? Dude, do what you do. Don't follow this boy over here that we're trying to get rid of at this club. So yeah, man, I really want him out of the club, you know, and
It's,
not in a malicious way,
yeah,
because I'll still be rooting for him wherever he goes. If he goes to PSG, I'll
yeah,
still be rooting for him. I would love him to have a great career until he
yeah,
retires. But
yeah.
again, you know,
Win
we're
some
just at this
titles, you
point.
know.
Yeah, we're just at this point of the club that you just need to be the correct player profile to fit into the system. And we don't need this up and down nonsense. To your point, when you're talking about the Geordie, Geordie show and talking about Callum Wilson, I'd rather bring players like Callum Wilson. We bump him up from 50K a week to 150 or 200 a week. You know, 200 is even too much. 100 a week or even 80, anything
Yeah,
between
yeah,
80 and 100, because that will be still a
100.
big bump for him, and then he can
Yeah,
deliver what he does on a consistent basis and gets it's fine. You know what I mean? If he can give
70
us
goals
15
every season,
every
15 goals
season,
every season.
man,
Come on.
bring him here.
Let,
Bring him here. I don't
yeah,
mind the
let's give,
injuries. Bring him.
uh,
I don't mind that because at least I know we're getting consistency. You know, not this up and down. What? No. Miss me with that.
and and then you know what they go on to say? They bring in like they say maybe also Rashford. Okay, for me, I believe when Rashford got his new contract, that was the
Yeah,
beginning of like
yeah,
I don't know, like I just started seeing signs of him drop. So they
yeah,
mentioned that, and then they also mentioned something very peculiar that they were like they think Rashford is still pissed off at the whole Sancho situation. They were like, these guys are boys. These guys they missed the penalties together in the Euros. There is a brotherhood. There is a bond. So when
yeah,
your boy is being exiled like that, like maybe you're like, nah, I don't accept this. I don't like how my boy is being treated, and that could affect them. I sat there and I'm like, I get it, but
yeah. No, I
yeah,
hear you.
like
Yeah,
if if there's an underlying reason behind something, and if that is one of them, that is scary. I thought
yeah,
that was very, very scary because here's Erik Ten Hag backing Rashford, saying that no, I still believe this guy can score 25 goals. I
yeah,
still think that this guy can do something. And then the player goes and does what he does, doesn't play well, body language off, looks like he couldn't give a shit. And then the manager after the game still backs the player up. I always feel like, bro, this guy is trying to sabotage your work. This
yeah.
guy is gonna get you fired because some of the things that you're saying make no sense. This guy doesn't look like he's playing. Doesn't look like he gives a shit. Here you are
Yeah.
saying that you are the best. He's the best, and he's doing this. So, and I think that's the problem that Erik Ten Hag has been clashing with the fans recently, because he will say something in his head, it makes sense, and I also get it, but
Yeah.
it doesn't translate well to people. People don't understand what he's saying. Like, hey, we're the most
Yeah.
entertaining, dynamic team in the league.
Mm.
We understand what he means by that,
Yes,
because he's
yes,
the one
yes.
that's coaching. But when
Exactly.
we see it, we're like, whoa. Everybody's like, whoa. What do you mean? Stop
Yeah.
with this nonsense. Like,
Yeah,
get out of
yeah.
here. You see, so yeah. This
Yeah, yeah.
Rashford situation with Sancho, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think, though? What do you think that there is a possibility?
I believe there is a possibility, but I don't think it needs to play out for so long. You know what I mean? Like, I get it, but at the same time I'm like, nah, man, it's not enough. You know, it's not enough. It's not enough for you to tank. And if you're gonna use it as an excuse, shame on you. You know what I mean? Shame on you. Shame on you. At the end of the season, say I didn't perform well because they exiled my boy. Shame. That's a cop
Shame
out.
on
That's
you, bro.
a
And we're
cop
paying you
out.
325.
Dude, that's a cop out. That one, I'll refuse it. You know, I'll refuse. It should rather remain a rumor than for him to come out and admit it and say, yeah, you know, this is why. Because they exiled my boy, then it'll be like, fuck you. We're gonna come in ourselves, the United fan base. I'm gonna be like, fuck, we bought your first class ticket to Dortmund. Go join your boy. You know what I mean? Go join him. If you're that touched, we'll send you to Dortmund. It's fine. You know, you can be buddies that side together. Nah, man, I'm not buying it. But yeah, man.
Crazy, bro.
Yeah. But anyway, man, I hope this is the last time we talk about Rashford. 4 games to go, you know. So
We said that. We did say that, and
I
Sancho.
know.
In the middle of the season, but these boys hit like,
Hey, man, they can't give us a break, man.
And you know what's crazy, dude?
Yeah.
I know this will not happen, because I just don't think it will happen. But say Borussia Dortmund win the Champions League.
Yeah. I don't even want to get into that conversation, man, because it's man. Yeah, you're basically giving Jadon Sancho a nuclear bomb, you know, go to war. Exactly. You're giving him enough ammunition to take out Ten Hag. Literally, you know, like literally out of a job. That's more than enough ammunition to end his career at United. But yeah, man, but anyway, it is what it is. All right, man. Yeah, it is what it is.
Let's move on. Bro,
man.
You checked out the Gary Neville one. I did not.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, man. In all honesty, a lot was being said, but it's nothing new that we've heard. You know, it's the same stuff that, you know, a lot of the press have been asking. I just think Gary Neville was just very cautious, meticulous with the words that he used. You know, there was this one part in the interview, you know, where he's like, you know, recent times have been frustrated with the press. And then he's like, no, let me not use the word frustrated, you know. It's the wrong word to use. Let me find the correct word. You know, so he was trying to be very like cautious about how he was addressing, because I think the last thing that he wanted to do, the last thing that he wanted to do was trigger Ten Hag, because he didn't want to get a responsive, like triggered answer.
A reactive response.
A reactive triggered answer. Like, fam, I've been saying this to the press. Do you understand what I mean? So you're trying to be like, look, this is a safe environment. Let's have a conversation. You know, I don't want to come at you like how the press come at you. So it's basically just addressing the same questions, but in a more way of, you've got space and room to conversate about it. You check what I mean? So that's basically what that interview was about. So like I said, he repeated a lot of the same stuff that has been saying in the media, like, look, I've had 30 different combinations. These guys saying that we don't have a game style or whatever. We do. The only difference is the same, what you call this, it can't be implemented because the same players that we use in this system this season have been absent. Luke Shaw, you know, Aaron Wan-Bissaka for a long time was injured. Lisandro Martinez, Varane, Casemiro, who else? It was in the midfield. Ericsson. Rashford has stopped scoring the goals. Anthony dealing with the allegations and he had to be absent from the first
Yeah.
team. Got Rasmus Højlund in, he was injured, and then people also forgetting that some of the players that we got on loan, like the Weghorst, whatever, Marcel, all those players played a huge role in what we ended up achieving, even though they're not first team players. They were subbed on and they had different roles that they had to play within that team. So a lot of our team has been absent this season. And I think that's just something that he was explaining in detail to say, okay, some of the questions, yes, you're asking me that the media has asked, but I can see also coming with a different approach. And even his answers were answers that the press never gave him a chance to relay, to say, look, man, look at it. I mean, just look when I was mentioning the players. I counted almost a full team of players that have been absent this whole season. This whole season, we haven't played with a true left back. The whole season, So Ten Hag has had a lot to deal with this season, and it just gave a lot of perspective on Gary Neville's side. And it's like, you know what? I think in all fairness, he does deserve at least one more season. And the thing that what Gary Neville said was, because Man United are now bringing in like people like Dan Ashworth, Jason Wilcox, there's going to be a new CEO, etc. He deserves the opportunity. Exactly, Barada. He deserves the opportunity to operate in a club that is well managed, whereas before he wasn't in that system. And then you also pointed out that Ten Hag is actually the only senior management man who is still at Manchester United. Everybody else around him has been sacked or removed from the club, So now he's completely working under a new management. No one left from the old regime. No Ed Woodward, all those other funny people. No, this is a whole new system of people.
Everybody.
You check what I'm saying. So he deserves that opportunity to work under a well-constructed, club, where there's a proper game plan. Everyone understands football top to bottom. You're not dealing with people who went to accounting school and only understand football with numbers, but they understand what offside rule means, Not the stuff where offside happens, you see Joe Glazer and Ed Woodward chatting like this, like, why is that goal? Why didn't that goal stand? No, because of, you know what I mean, fam? You have people there who understand football. Rather, they've played football, they've been football fans from childhood, they've been managers, whatever. And that's what, this whole structure, this team of management is being built by football people. People who understand the game, people who understand that you need a technical director, you need a football director, you need all these people in place, and they also need to know how football works and operates and know that, okay, we need to do these certain steps to get us to these certain positions in order for us to be successful at the club. So, yeah, man, it's, full newfound perspective for Gary Neville. I know it's annoying because, like, you out of all people should understand and should know. Why is it taking you so long to get it?
D, are you trying to tell me that this is not what we've been preaching? Like what Erik Ten Hag said, what you just described.
Yeah.
Isn't that what we've been saying?
Yeah.
Isn't that what I've been also like? No, like for real, D. Let's let the whole world know this. Is this not what we've been saying?
Yep.
Like every time when people come at us and say, "Hey, Manchester this, oh the gaffer this," and we're like, "Wait, hold up. Do you guys even understand what's going on inside our club? Do you even understand that we've had 60 or different pairings or shifting injuries, 60 individual injuries?"
Yep.
Like, do you think that is normal? I'm like, how these people forget. This is the thing that we need to start fixing. Our fans, we need to start fixing this thing. Let's stop forgetting shit. Because if you forget, I think it's lazy. I think it's so naive. Because I have been saying that our team is good enough to play. This is the team that came third last season miraculously. Like, is it miraculously? We started off the season getting dumped. Then we find our shit. We get ourselves together. We start going through our good run of form. We get to third. get to a final. All these things were not a coincidence.
mm,
And the
mm.
fact that this season people made it seem like that was a coincidence, like that
Yeah.
last season was a fluke. And I didn't
Mm.
like that. I
Yeah.
didn't like that. This season, a lot of people have been taking a lot of shots at us like last season was a fluke. And I'm like, guys, it's unfair. It really,
Yeah.
really is unfair for you guys to come out and say these things because you are literally diminishing a great season that we had last season. And then this
Yep.
season is bad. We are still hanging on, but somehow you don't see it.
Mm.
Like and even during this tough time, we were still hanging on. That is why I had this hope that we could break into top four. And you know
Yeah.
what's funny? I was doing the maths the other day, and I'm like, I was onto something. In my
Yeah.
mind, I was not tripping. I was not
Yeah.
tripping when I thought that we could make it into top four. When we started doing that bullshit of losing games and what tanking, and then it started becoming clear that yeah, okay. But then you look, because now remember you were surprised like we're at six. I was also surprised we were at six. Because I'm like I knew we were there, but
Yeah.
in my mind, I'm like, yo, we might have been 8, 9. Like I
Yeah.
thought
Yeah.
Chelsea had surpassed us because I remember there was a time you were like, Chelsea have got 2 games in hand. How
Yeah.
is that going now, by the way? Do they still
I
have 2
think I
games in
think
hand?
they lost both games, or I think they lost one through one. So and at
They
that
beat
time, I think they were
someone, yeah,
only what was it? I think they're only like 2 points behind us or something. I was like, yeah, we're
and
fucked,
they 2
you
games
know?
in hand.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm sure
yeah.
now
But
they've cleared that.
yeah, that's clear. It was square. And what helped us was that Cole Palmer was injured. That's what helped us, because he's been that saving grace. So we're fortunate that he was injured. So one of the
In
games he
one game.
missed, yes, in one game,
Uh,
yes, and then in the other one, who were they playing? I don't remember who they were playing, but it was a tough
they beat
opponent.
Tottenham.
Did they
They
beat
beat Tottenham this
Spurs?
past. Yeah,
They didn't
2-0.
draw.
No,
Okay. But I
no.
think that first game saved us. It's Cole Palmer saved us
Mm.
by being injured and they couldn't get the points that they needed. So, yeah, man, big up Cole Palmer. Big ups, man.
Yeah. I mean, he's doing the thing, but yo, but
Mm,
this is crazy. Like I'm actually disappointed in Gary Neville because he's someone that, again, he's got for some reason Gary Neville has found himself in a position of influence and power in the
mm,
football world in England. Like I don't know how
yeah.
he's managed to do that because
Mm.
he's not really considered as somebody that has a great or anything like that. They always try to shut him down, even though he has achieved great things.
He has achieved
Having
a
said
lot.
that, he has
Mm,
achieved he has. But I mean, as a player, I think not being gifted or talented like everybody else that was surrounded around him, they just played down. Because I get it in
yes,
the class of '92,
that's
he
true.
was the only one that was not talented. He was just
But I
normal
think
player. Like
with Gary Neville, I think what really stood out was that he was reliable and consistent. And that
yes,
played a
that's what I
huge
mean.
role. Yeah,
He was an average player that put in
yes,
consistent performances and
yes,
was
yes.
Mr. Reliable. So he was
Exactly.
always on it, but he
Yeah.
was not a Beckham or a
Yeah.
Toby.
Yeah.
He didn't
Yeah.
have anything
Giggsy.
special about him.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and he did achieve a lot. And I'm not taking that,
Mm.
but for somebody that has been saying a lot of bold statements ever since he's been in this punditry position, for
Mm.
him to not see that with Manchester United, I feel like that is a cop out. Like that I can't accept. I feel like that
Yeah.
is bullshit. I feel like he was set right next to in front of Erik Ten Hag, the boss, the
Mm.
gaffer. Normally, it's not easy for you to just be out and say the normal shit that you want to say. And he
Yeah.
was right in front of the guy who's actually at the helm of the team. And he
Mm.
was schooling him and making it needed Erik Ten Hag to remind him again.
Yeah.
Nah, that's bullshit, man.
Yeah.
These
No,
guys sit,
true.
they just criticize for the sake of criticizing, and
Yeah.
it's crazy. And he even said something the other day that I don't know if it's something I said the other day on one of his videos. He's like, I hate being in the position that I am in because I criticize my team a lot. He's like, I don't know if he was talking to Trent or somebody, but he was basically saying he hates having to criticize Manchester United the way he does. or the way he has been doing in this past season, especially with them not playing well and stuff. It breaks his heart. You kind of enjoy it. You kind of enjoy it, Gary. Like somehow it almost feels like sometimes your punditry and the things that you say, it almost feels like you're turning your back on Manchester United. I swear.
Yeah.
I swear. I know he means well, but man, he needs to chill. Like every other great doesn't go hard on the way these guys do. I get it, but it is Gary Neville adds a little extra. And just to hear him accept and realize everything that me and you, normal fucking people that love football, have been preaching about since the fucking genesis of like BC. We've been talking about this. How is it that it took a sit down with the gaffer for him to see it?
Yeah.
That one
You know what, man? I think the reason why these guys are extra critical, and speaking more to the guys of class of 92, because those guys had longevity in the club and they're part of a very special era in Manchester United's history. I think the reason why those guys are so critical and come off like that, I don't think they enjoy it, but I think it comes from a point of it's very painful for them to see. And I think they're more hard on it. I think their criticism hits harder, or they express so much exaggeration because they went through a period of like great success and they won so many things and they achieved so many things and they did all these great things. It's like, we've done all this hard work for you. We've built this foundation. We've built these 4 walls, and you guys are tearing down what we built. So I think it's coming out of fucking frustration, you know? And I think maybe that kind of makes it sound like it's coming out of, oh, they enjoy it. But I think they're more touched because they sort of built that. You know, we built it and you motherfuckers are tearing it down. Why are you not tracking back? This guy's not good enough. The manager needs to do X, Y, Z and all of this and all of this. So I think it comes from a point of frustration because you usually hear those like damning criticisms from the people like Gary Neville, Roy Keane and stuff like that. You won't hear it a lot from Bo Becks because, you know, Bo Becks obviously left. You know, he didn't really see it out the whole way. Rooney came in and he found that foundation and the 4 walls already built and just continued that legacy, you know, etc., etc., etc. So that's why those like players that came afterwards don't really have so many harsh things to say or whatever, and they come with a bit of understanding and a bit of compassion. But I think those guys, because they're the ones who built those walls, you know, I think it really hurts harder for them. But in that same breath, I do understand and 100% agree with you. And it also frustrates me that how did it only click now, Gary Neville? Like, really, dude? You know, why is it only clicking now? Like, this shit you should have known even before coming to the sit down. And I get that he has to be unbiased, you know, when he's sitting down in the room, you know, with Bo, Roy Keane and Andy Townsend and all these other guys and whatever. I get he has to put an unbiased decision across. You know, he can't be one-sided, right? So he has to play on both sides of the coin. But even with that being said, he needs to be more, you know, sympathetic. And I know, you know, media have got a way of controlling the narrative. And I always say this all the time, that, and I even said at the beginning of the episode, it's like you choose one part of that verse and you don't actually give context to the whole verse itself. Because trust me, Ben, if you go and watch a lot of these like the halftime talks, the post matches and stuff like that, there's a lot of times where Gary Neville has gone back and forth to Roy Keane, where Gary Neville has actually trying to back Manchester United, and the other people like both Roy Keane and whatever have just been shutting Gary Neville down, saying, shut up. You know what I mean? Then there's a lot of instances where Gary Neville has actually stood, back Manchester United and said, you know what, I think you guys are being too harsh because of X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z. But that's not the stuff that gets shown, you know, because people don't want to see Gary Neville back Manchester United. People want to see Gary Neville attack Manchester United more than he actually defends them. So
can I say what? Can I say something? Gary Neville backs the wrong thing. That's the thing. Here's the guy. Gary Neville is the same fucking guy who has been pushing the narrative that Erik Ten Hag will lose his job. Is he not the guy? Is he not part of those people that were like, if he doesn't win this game, he's out of here. If he doesn't do this, he's sacking himself. Gary Neville.
Yeah.
And that is my issue. That is my bloody issue. Like, I've heard
But
him back Manchester United, but the way he backs Manchester United, you see, like Roy Keane. Roy Keane, I like the way he attacks these players. He attacks the players' attitudes. He attacks their body language, all these kind of things. Like, stop good enough. Not good enough. This. Like, get him out of there. Like, the way Roy Keane talks about the United players, it's almost like if he was in that dressing room, he would fix that shit. Gary Neville doesn't. Gary Neville doesn't. Gary Neville is the same guy who is supposed to be critical of people like Rashford. He's not critical. Critical for certain players. He's not critical. He's only critical to foreign players. This is Gary Neville. This is the dark side that you don't know. Like, this is the side of Gary Neville that I see.
Yeah.
Like, this is the side that I'm like, this is nonsense. Gary Neville, you need to be consistent. He has done a documentary or whatever session with Marcus Rashford, not asking the difficult questions. How is that somebody who is a great legend, who is frustrated with how things are going? How is he not able to confront our golden boy as a legend? Like, Gary Neville has got weight. He has got titles. He can say whatever the fuck he wants to say to Rashford, and he can say it however he wants. And Rashford is supposed to eat it up and take it as somebody who has not achieved jack shit. Why is it that these guys cannot get that out of him? They have to baby him and what. And then when it comes to people like Bruno, Casemiro, Varane, Martial, Wan-Bissaka, all these other fucking guys, it's very easy to write them off. Get rid of them. They're not good enough. There's not this.
Yeah.
There's not that. Harry Maguire is the model this. Hey, this player is the model that. That's the dark side of Gary Neville. So for me, I'm like, I get it. And this is the thing. The way I see Gary Neville come out the way he does, I feel it's coming from an inferiority complex sort of way. Because in the latest fucking show with these buddies, the Ian Wrights, that overlap thing, kickoff, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I think he's on the hot seat, and they're talking about him. Like, dude, why do you play down your career? And even Roy Keane was like, you need to stop that shit. You've achieved. Stop belittling what you've done. He always does that. He was like, nah, I was never the best player. Yes, but no. So he has that thing. So now he has an opportunity. He's got this. He's in a position of power, and I feel like he's dishing it out. Like, he's like, yeah, no, man. I
Ben. I think for starters, personality types. Number one. Number two, there's no win-win. There's no win-win. So whichever side you're going to choose, you're always going to get backlash for the opposite that you're not doing. So Gary Neville decides to choose honesty and be like, look, I was not the greatest player. I was just part of a great regime. Yes, I went on to achieve a lot of things. I ended up becoming captain of Manchester United, X, Y, and Z. And that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to speak my truth. If people want to hate me for that and say, no, you need to pick up yourself. You're more than that, what. Because honestly, Ben, the counter could be, he does do that. I was part of an elite squad. Wow. What do you think the counter is going to be? The counter is going to be, shut up, Gary Neville. You're not the most talented in that club.
And I believe that. And I believe that's why he didn't do it.
There's no win. But that's my point. There's no win. So as much as Roy Keane saying that, no, be this person and say, no, don't play down your career, he's still going to get backlash. Either way, he's going to get backlash. So there's no winning. And that's the problem with the media. There's no winning, So so you have to. I 100% get your point. But I'm also just trying to say that at the end of the day, there's no winning, right? So if Gary Neville, that's just his personality. Gary Neville doesn't have a Roy Keane personality. That's just how he is. Roy Keane's gonna say things the way he says things, and some people are also not gonna like the way he says things and the way he deals with things. And the vice versa for Gary Neville. So you just stick with who you are, what you're doing, you come out and you say whatever you need to say, right? So all I'm just trying to push forward is, I get where everything is coming from, and I agree with you and everything like that. But I also don't agree with pushing like a very strict narrative towards something and saying that this, you know, because I do know that the opposite is true, and I do know how toxic the media can be when it comes to certain people, you know, especially in the football industry, where they want to sway and push a very specific narrative, and they do not want to acknowledge everything else that's happening. Same thing with this Ten Hag thing that we're talking about. They want to push this thing off because, Ben, in all fairness, on this very same show, we have also spoken about if Erik Ten Hag is not going to do this, he's going to sack himself. Mark Goldbridge has also spoken about if Erik Ten Hag does this, he's going to sack himself, you know. But there's just some people that's just more easier to hate on or whatever and pick it and pick something about and say, oh, but Gary Neville said that. Like, yeah, all United fans at some point in this season, you know, have come out and said, you know what, this guy is going to sack himself.
No,
Do you
but
get
you
what
can-
I'm saying?
No.
I get the difference. I get the difference.
Yes.
Gary Neville is in a position of power, right? So when it comes out of his mouth, it's different when it comes out of our mouths. You know, we get 20 views. He gets 20 million views. You know what I'm saying? Who is going to hear us saying that, you know?
that's
But
not
Gary
that's not what
Neville,
I'm saying. No, D, that is not exactly what I'm saying. I'm not saying about the views, and I'm not saying about that. I'm just saying, like, as somebody who has understood the game and been in, has got no fucking authority, or he's got no place to pick and choose. Because I was getting back into, and again, people forget. There were moments where there were certain players that should have been called out, and Gary Neville was supposed to be in that place to call them out, and he did it.
yes.
You know what I mean? And then it's just been going and going and going. And then players that they shouldn't get called out. They get called out. They get put on blast. They say certain things that just, you know, you'll be like, this is, you know, like, nah, this is not right. So for me, Gary Neville, in that breath and sense, I feel like he's not doing a very good job, and I don't think it's right. Like, and I'm disappointed that it took him this long. It took him to have a sit down with Erik Ten Hag. For Erik Ten Hag to break it down slowly. Like, is Gary Neville trying to say that he did not see what Erik Ten Hag was explaining to him? Is that it? Like, he didn't see that. That is madness. That is madness. And they contributed in the toxicity of the club. All the negative energy that was there, these greats of ours, Gary Neville sitting at the top, is part of it. So I want to put blame. I am shifting blame. I don't want this whole thing of Gary Neville to seem like, oh, he's realized it and he's come to his senses. Nah, people need to know and see what Gary Neville is for. Like, nah, I'm not going to accept that shit. Like, now that we're here, they're like, oh, let's give him a chance. Like, the time when we said that Erik Ten Hag is going to sack himself was because of tactical things, not necessarily the grand, bigger picture. Here, these guys were bringing the bigger picture into this thing. When we were saying that now Erik Ten Hag is going to sack himself, it's because we were getting frustrated with the way he's going on about his games. These guys were doing it in a grand scale. So how is it that we can accept that? Do you understand? So
Yeah.
man. Yeah. Anyway.
All right.
Gary Neville, like, but
go watch the interview, you know, to gain context. I think you understand what I mean by, you know, Gary Neville asked all the questions that the press haven't been asking, or they just didn't ask it in the right way. But I think the way the press asked Ten Hag is to trigger him. You know what I mean? Your team are not going to qualify. Your team are not going to qualify. Ever since you've come to this club, XYZ player has performed. Why? You know what I mean? Whereas Gary Neville is, he constructed the questions much more, you know, in a conversational way, and not triggered and not said, you know, this and this is a result of you, but like, you know what I mean? Just I'm asking for my own sake. Why are players injured? You know, it's different when it comes from the press. Gary Neville's like, look, I just honestly want to know, like, why are these players injured? Are they injury prone? Is this guy sustaining a long-term injury? Like, why are there so many injuries at the club? You get. So that was like the sort of approach. But anyway, man, moving forward, it's time for real change. It's time for real change, and I know we keep saying this, and And I think I spoke about it before, where it's like, I think at this point, we're actually going through an actual rebuild because we've thrown this word around a lot in the past. And I said it has never been a rebuild, an actual rebuild, because when you look at the personnel that they brought into the club, it didn't fit that criteria of rebuilding the club. You know, just looking at the names we're bringing into management, the players that they're bringing in, you know, the academy players that they're sending off, it wasn't making sense. Whereas this time it feels like a real rebuild because we have got a complete makeover from top to bottom. You know, from who's going to be running the club, who's going to be in charge of transfers, bringing in technical directors, football directors, you know, building plans to have a new stadium built, renovating stuff in the club. So everything is getting restructured. Like from a literal and a figurative point of view, like we're going through an actual rebuild. So realistically speaking, now we need to start looking at players that this club need to sell. You know, players that we can actually keep, and maybe some players that can go out on loan that are going to be beneficial for the future, right? And I think we really need to tackle this specific section at a very critical level. You know what I mean? Like we need to address like the reality of it. Because like I mentioned to you, I read somewhere, whether it's true or false, that the only players that are safe are Kobe Manu, Garnacho, and Rasmus Højlund. Everybody else on the chopping block, including our captain. So let's start with sell. Which player do you think we need to sell? Remember, this is a rebuild. We're not looking for immediate success because we understand. We're not ignorant. We understand the position that United are in. We know it's going to take time, especially when it goes to winning major titles like Premier League, Champions League, etc. It's going to take time, maybe 2-3 seasons. We're going to get to that point where we're actually competing. And I'll always mention teams like Liverpool, Arsenal. I said, look at them. Look how long it has taken Arsenal to get to this point where they're actual contenders for winning the title. And Arsenal fans were patient with Arteta, and it's been like, what? It's now his 4th season now? Yeah. You see? And he's got rid of players that were very questionable at that time, getting rid of Aubameyang, Lacazette, the list of players go on, Ozil, and Arsenal fans are like, what are you doing? And it's like, relax, we're rebuilding. You know what I mean? And look how far he has come. Look how far he has come, making those difficult decisions. Because not only did he get rid of Aubameyang, but Aubameyang was the captain of Arsenal. And he took that major risk. Top goal scorer, captain. And it's like, I get it, but he's just toxic for this environment. And I feel United need to be ruthless like this as well. Rashford, we get it, but we need to get rid of you. This is a rebuild. You know what I'm saying? So, let's give ourselves 3 names each. So I'll start with you. Which 3 players do you think need to go? And try and make it as controversial as possible. Let's try and skip the obvious ones. No, what I mean, Ben, is look, we know that Martial needs to go. You get what I mean? We know that Varane is leaving, so don't mention the names that we already know. Like throw in a curveball there, man.
Listen, right here, right now, just so that I can break your heart, I'm not putting in Bruno's name. Forget that. Like if you were expecting me to throw in my magnifico, forget that guy is my non-enemy. Moving on.
Yeah.
It's a difficult one, dude. Because when you look at what do we have? What do we have? Like, what do we have that we can sell that's going to give us, like, for let's say, one player that's going to give us a lot of money? For me, when I think about that, I go to Rashford. But I don't want to stick to Rashford because we already know I don't want Rashford at Manchester United.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say something here that's going to blow your mind. And I think the sooner we fix this problem, the better for us.
Okay.
Must be controversial, right?
Yeah, go for it.
I say let's get rid of Licha.
Okay.
The reason being, I actually saw Licha injury prone. Like, I think,
Okay.
I don't know if you remember us having this conversation
Mm.
back then. I'm like, listen, Licha's good, but he's injury prone. Like, when we were thinking into him, he was on the chop. He was injured at the time. He wasn't playing. He was injured.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
he came back and then he played the rest of the season for them and he was coming back into. But then I went back and I checked and I was like, Licha has been injured. And it's this same metatarsal, his feet,
Mm.
from his ankles going down. That's where the problem is.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we have fixed it, but I foresee a continuous thing. He will play long periods of time, and then when the leg gives in, he'll be out for long periods of time. He will have this dip and dip, and we
Yeah.
don't want that.
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
the things that we don't want to make United is injury prone. We want Maguire, we want Bruno's, guys who are, every day,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
there. Like, we need that. I think when you have players that are fit, it's easy for you to build some sort of consistency. It's easy for the gaffer to do the things that he wants with his team. So
Yeah.
for me is what I know is icky because he's already a cult hero.
Yeah. Yeah.
Licha is
Yeah.
a warrior. Like, he's already engraved his name there in Manchester United. But
Yeah.
if we are not going to fix that defensive area, I
Yeah.
foresee like this. Same thing with Rashford.
Mm.
Not in the sense that Rashford gets injured now. I mean, in the sense that with the performances, we're always going to be looking for someone to put in that position, and then it will
Yeah.
destabilize the consistency that we've been trying to create for ourselves. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We'll be now chopping and changing, and yeah. So my first name will be Licha.
Okay.
My second name, Roberto Carlos.
Okay.
I think Roberto Carlos, it's a wrap. I
Mm.
don't think it's going to get better from here.
Yeah.
I don't. He might give us one or two solid seasons. He might have seasons where you like be fit. But once he gets injured, bro, what is Roberto Carlos now? 30, 31, I think. I don't know.
Mm.
Like, normally it doesn't get better from here if you're an
Yeah.
injury prone player. From that age, like, it doesn't get better. So he's one that I would like, for being, controversial as we are. And then my last, I would actually go with Anthony if we could pay him off. Not Martial, Anthony, the
Yes.
striker.
Yes.
The
Yes.
striker.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
If we could somehow pay him off or regain our money some way or somehow get our money back, I would do it now.
Mm.
Yeah, he's not the guy for us. He's not the
Yeah.
winner for Manchester United. He's not.
Yeah.
Not the profile. I don't care what the gaffer says. I don't care the gaffer says that I worked with him at Ajax. He's not the guy. Already,
Mm.
his mentality has shown that he can't handle the responsibilities that Manchester United do. He might work in another team where the spotlight is not there.
Mm.
But where there's the spotlight and micro, like Man United,
Mm.
no.
Yeah.
Those are my three.
All right. All right. Yeah.
It's
No.
crazy because I've been thinking about this, and
Yeah.
I never in my wildest dreams ever thought you're gonna ask me a question like this. I was gonna try to
Yeah.
be done with this,
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
crazy
Yeah.
that you brought it up. It's crazy
Yeah.
because I have thought about it.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not gonna lie. The Nietzsche one threw me off. I never expected that. But when you explained it, I'm like, it makes motherfucking sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It makes sense. And it made sense because I was looking at Luke Shaw, because Luke Shaw is first on my list. Because your same points, like, I think that's it. The injuries are too much. He's old. We need to move him on. We really need to start looking at that position. He's one player that we just need to get rid of. And he's only going to get, his value is only going to get worse in the market as the years go by. So we have to get him for whatever it's worth at this present time. We can't risk going into next season hoping he's going to have a good season and we can sell him off, excuse me, and we can sell him off for a higher price than what he's valued at now. this is the time to get rid of him because I think we can still get good money for him. And I think a lot of mid-table teams would not mind having Luke Shaw in the squad, to be honest. So I think he's definitely number one in on my list. Number two is another player that you mentioned, Anthony. I think huge mistake. Get rid of him now. Don't waste time. You know, he needs to get going. I also believe he's not the guy for Manchester United, not even off the bench. Because personally, I feel Ahmed and Pelestri are ahead of Boy in that position. Even
When
though
looking to get rid of Pelestri, can you imagine?
dude. So even though Ten Hag came out and said that that position is actually not Ahmed's position, I would still have Ahmed and Pelestri vying for that position over Anthony all day, every day. All day, every day. So for me, it's cut the losses now. Don't wait. Cut them now. Sell Boy, and we're done with it. The last one, it's so difficult. It's so difficult because I'm still trying to make up my mind. Initially, I had Bruno in my top three, right?
You want to start a war, eh? You want
But
to start
the problem is I know, Ben. The problem is I just never had sufficient, you know, I never had sufficient evidence to back why. You know what I mean? Like the reasons were not enough. They were not enough. And I'm like, exactly. Because it's not like I don't like Bruno. I love him to death. What irritates me about Bruno is that I don't want to say he came at the wrong time, but I wish he came now at the age we got him at. If that makes sense. You know what I mean? Because I feel like he wasted all his good years where there was just nonsense going on at the club and all his good efforts went towards nothing. And now I just feel like the remaining years that he has at the club is not going to have, man, maybe it will, but I don't think it's going to have that same impact he had when he first came into the club. And you know, Ben, you use this word a lot, forget. You know, when Bruno scored that goal with his left foot, I'm like, why am I even getting crazy excited? This is Bruno. This is what he has been doing. Why am I shocked? Why am I like, oh my God? Do you get what I'm saying? But because he hasn't been doing that in a long time, we forget that this is Bruno. This is standard for him. You know, he just hasn't had that opportunity to really, you know, dive into like his real, you know what I mean? So yeah, man. Third, man, I don't know. I honestly don't know who to put because I feel like any other name I'm gonna put, it's obvious that we need to get rid of them. You know, I was thinking of also putting Bissaka in that conversation, but I'm like, nah. And the only reason why I'm saying that is because I'm looking at players that can actually give us some money in the transfer market. You know, who have actual value, and Bissaka's got actual value. You know, so I know that whatever we sell him for, we can easily use that money to come back and replace him. Because when you look at other players that we need to get rid of, they don't amount to nothing. And it's really not going to make any huge differences, you know, in the squad. So that third option, man, I'm sorry, but it has to be Rashford, you know. I know it's not controversial enough, but you already mentioned Licha, and I don't want to come back and mention Licha again, but I think Rashford, he needs to leave. He needs to leave. Like, man, I just don't see him.
And you know,
yeah, bro.
In my shorts, you know the annoying thing about Rashford at this moment, and I don't understand why he is not getting it. Like, if there is something truly going on with him, like it is the opportunity, like these periods where there were breaks, like the opportunity for him to sit down and tell us his struggles. Like the Manchester United fan base, bro, we are so patient, we are so sympathetic. Like if he came out and told us the things that he's going through, I kid you not, all the noise, all the nonsense that surrounding Rashford would stop. Because people will be like, listen, guys, you know what, this guy has got these issues. You know, there have been some hints that he lost I don't know, a cousin or a friend or something. I saw hints somewhere. And I'm like, you see, if he comes out and says this thing publicly, not coming and fighting the fans, like always like trying to pick a fight with us like we did something wrong. No, you come here and you say, listen, ever since this I've been going through this, you detail it. We are human. We are not animals. We are empathetic. Like we will tap into our human side and understand where you're coming from. And I guarantee that the situation and the issues will be less. Like because you'll feel safe. You feel the love. There's always love. We always talk about those fans that are the away fans. One of the best fans in the entire world, the away fans, always there. Whether they say shit or not, they are there. So why is he not trusting us? And it almost feels like he doesn't trust us with his issues. Like, we are the fans. You're playing for us. We need you good. If you're not good, we are not good.
Yeah.
So like it's a win-win. Like it's a family thing. We are connected. And I don't understand why he's not tapping into that. Why he's not tapping into that into this space and say, listen, start talking about this. All he does is he's sleeping at 1 a.m. or 3 a.m. when he's supposed to be sleeping, and he's writing these posts and accounts of people that are saying, and like this thing where he liked a post from somebody that's not verified in the wee hours of I don't know what time when he's supposed to be sleeping. Then he likes, oh, Rashford is being mistreated. He likes that. Yeah, enough is enough. Seriously? Tell us your problems, Marcus, because we can clearly see there are issues.
Yeah.
He can't sit here and say that he's okay.
I
don't know why he's not doing that, and that's pissing me off, and that's annoying me even more because it's showing me that, oh my god, this guy's not mature. This guy doesn't want to grow up. He wants to be stuck in this little bubble. Or poor me. Oh, poor Rashford. Like we are moving on. Look, now you're in the you're in the list of bounds. Like once you find yourself in that position, bro. I don't know. I don't know why he's plans out trying to fix the relationship with the family. I don't know what his plan is, but so far he's not doing a good job. He's not. So
no, man.
We're gonna talk about that. But here we are.
Yeah. All right, man. So now let's move on to keep. Let's try to speed this along a little bit much faster. So I'm gonna combine keep and loan. So you can mention 3 players that you think are worth 3 players that you think are worth 3 that you think are worth keeping, and then 2 that you think should go out on loan. So these 3 again should be players that maybe the fan base, the media saying, nah, these guys need to go. But you think, you know what, actually, we could maybe keep them for another season. And I'm going to say season, not seasons, another season, because they could be beneficial through this rebuild while we're still trying to figure out who we need to get. You know what I mean?
You are directing my answer with that. But I was going to give. So for me, keep Varane Casemiro.
Okay.
And you said 3 or 2?
3. 3 for keep, 2 for loan.
So I'll keep Casemiro, I'll keep Varane. And I'll keep Scott McTominay. Scott McTominay or Harry Maguire?
Who?
Okay, so no, wait. I'll keep Maguire, I'll keep Scott McTominay.
Yeah.
And I'll keep Varane.
Okay.
No. Let me change it. Really? I'll keep Varane, I'll keep Casemiro, and I'll keep Maguire.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then 2 players to go out on loan?
I would say this new striker of ours, Whitley.
Yeah.
We need to talk about fast. Like,
yeah.
He's scoring goals. We need to send him out quick.
Yeah.
would. Who else is there left to loan out? Because we can't really loan out the big boys, the senior players. Like
Yeah.
that point you have to sell. So I would loan out that kid and Dan Go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless Dan Go has graduated and is breaking into the first team. Like
Yeah.
Kobe, because he is that good.
Yeah.
So I'll keep him. But if he's going to have he needs another year, I'll
Yeah.
send him out because he's ready. Yeah.
Okay. All right. No, interesting. I'm gonna start with loan. I want to see Pelestri getting loaned out again. Yeah. But I want him to get loaned out to a team in the Premier League. And that's only because I want him to show that he's capable of starting and is capable of being that player in the Prem. I don't want to see him in any other league but the Prem, because I want him to prove to United, to Ten Hag, to everybody at Manchester that if this boy starts for us, it's going to be problems for teams all day, every day. You know?
Like, D, you did it again. You did your Pastor D thing. Huh? I like that. I like that. You are 100% spot on. A Fulham, Everton, Brentford, Brighton.
Go to Villa even. You know what I mean? Go and show that you are very capable of starting in this United 11, you know, and I want him when he comes back, he's just a problem for selection. I want him now to be like, shit, what do I do now? You know what I mean? Like he has to play. The way Garnacho had to play this season is the same thing I want with Pelestri. Like he has to play, come what may, you know? So him, and then definitely the Whitley kid as well. You know, he's got the height. You know, I want him to bulk up. I want him to, I'm seeing so much potential with this kid. I'm like, my guy, go out on loan and get, go out on loan and get that senior playing experience. Get it. We need you and Rasmus. You know what I mean? To be our forerunners when it comes to when we get to that point where we're competing for the league. I need those two players on tip-top shape. You know, in that striking position.
Whole striker at Manchester United. I wanted a striker. We have Rasmus. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I don't know. Like, I just see great things with this Whitley kid.
Dude.
Anyway,
I want.
I might be exaggerating, but
exactly. You know, definitely. Players to keep. This one's a tough one. It's tough. It's tough because it's funny because you're saying keep Varantau Licha, and I'm like, fucking hell, Ben, the things you say, man, are left and right. You know what I mean? You know, but when it comes to, you can explain, but let me get through this and then, keep. I want to say it's Scott McTominay. My problem with Scott McTominay is that he's not utilized. I don't feel it's still being utilized the right way. You know, I get why keep him, you know, reliable, energy, young. I get it, you know. So I'll bookmark that one for now. Maguire, I'm going to say keep because we're really lacking in the defensive department. And just like strikers, I think center-backs are also very hard to come by nowadays. So if we can keep Maguire, it seems like he's doing very well and doesn't have the pressure of being the captain and being relied on. When we need to call on him, he's ready to go. So he's going to be the first player on the list that I say we need to keep, right? Bissaka is the second player. I know a lot of people are saying we need to sell him. He's got good market value. Send him back to Crystal Palace. They wouldn't mind having him back. Yeah?
I didn't mention Wan Bissaka not because I didn't like, even when you mentioned his name, I was like, Now, that is by no means, my head, he's dead.
Yeah, no, I 100% hear you. But I think he's one player that, you know, it seems like strong rumors are they want to get rid of him because he's got good market value. right? And then also that thing of they can swap him, they can send him back to Crystal Palace and they give us Michael Olise. I get all of that, but I feel like he's a player that needs to stay. That boy is defensively brilliant. Man, I don't care. I don't care that he's not, dude. I don't get it, Ben. I don't get how people just can't see the value in his defensive skills. I can't get it. You know,
because we're from a different time.
Probably. That's the only rational, reason I can come up with. But yeah, man. So 1-2, Maguire, Pisaka. This one's a tough one because I'm thinking between Varane or Casemiro, but I think Casemiro because because again, like we're finding it very difficult. I know Casemiro is not really a CDM, but I think he's the only player at United that plays that role.
Yeah.
Very well. I'll get to off camera because I think this requires a deeper conversation on why I'm saying that it's not really a true CDM, but just plays that position very well. But I think hold on to him because that's a position that we're also struggling to get, And like I said, I'd rather see us keeping Maguire over Varane, even though I think Varane offers more in that CDM, that's a centre back position. But I think Maguire is going to be more readily available for us than Varane, and we need that consistency. So yeah, those like 3 players to keep. That are rumored to be leaving: Pisaka, Maguire, Casemiro. I think those 3 we definitely need to keep. Yeah.
That's very interesting. You asked me how crazy it is that I mentioned we get rid of Licha and keep Varane. It's purely based on the injuries that I feel like the injuries that we've seen them go down for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Licha's injuries are his foot injuries. And you look at the style of play. The butcher is not going to change. It's like Eric Bailly. Eric Bailly will never change that beastliness in him. I want to put the wrath of God in my tackle. That kind of thing. And it's very difficult to avoid injuries in those kind of those mentality, with those players with that mentality.
Yeah.
But I don't know, for some reason he's more classy. He's more classy in the way he handles himself. His injuries. I've always said Varane is a proper professional. When he feels any niggle in his body, he sounds the alarm. Make sure he goes for it and make sure that it doesn't affect. And I like that. He doesn't play through pain to mess up the injury even more and stuff like that. Nah. And he has got a unique kind of problem because he says head injuries cause most of the injuries that they get in the rest of the body. He explained it in his own way. I got it. And I'm just like, you know what? Varane for us, bro, like ever since he's been the centre back for us at Manchester United, he has been on it for days. Now, it doesn't take away from what Licha has done too. Licha is a cult hero. People love the Licha. But just because of those injuries, I see Varane play more games than Licha. You know what I mean? And Varane is what, 29, 30? He's young.
Yeah.
I mean, also, Licha's also young, but Licha's injury prone the way he is.
Yeah.
So just because of that, I'll swap it. I'll Varane and then send Licha.
Yeah. Not here. But yeah, man, obviously these are our own personal takes. At the end of the day, we're still yet to see what's going to transpire through this new regime, and if they're going to follow through with what they've been saying. So we're leaving the doors open. We had this conversation off camera. It got really deep, really intense. Maybe we might leak the VNs. We might leak the VNs. Oh man. One day.
I'm sure somebody will ask us, do you guys ever get into arguments or serious conversations? And then we'll be like, you know what? Listen to these.
Yeah. I think you know
decide
what?
for yourself.
Yeah, we should save that conversation for after the transfer window. And then we get back and then we will have an episode we were reacting to the VM, like what we said, like when we're going back and forth to this specific topic. After the transfer window, we'll react to what we had to say about it. But yeah, man, it's a juicy one. It's a juicy one. Like we have our conflicts off camera. Like it's not we don't always sunshine and smiling. Hey man, it gets heated.
And it's crazy, dude, because I think this year we've clashed more than
Yes.
any other year.
Yeah, no,
Like,
true.
On this journey. And it's wild.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's the beauty. It's the beauty
Exactly.
of it,
Exactly.
You can't always have the same opinion all the time. Like it's good
Exactly.
to see from different perspectives. So yeah.
True. No, 100%. 100%. All right, man. Let's move on. 4 games left to the season, but of course we still have the FA Cup final. You know, I was reading somewhere, it's like some, they're taking digs at Arsenal, that Arsenal haven't reached the final this season. Meantime, and they may not even win the season. But yeah, man, why in a final? It's 2 seasons in a row. Manchester United derby final.
Achievement.
It's
And the
big.
way people just play it down. Wild.
It's huge. It's huge. Manchester derby again in London. I think that's what's pissing people off. That is happening in London, back to back. Like fuck what y'all guys are doing. We're the goats in England. But yeah, man. Hopefully it won't be a repeat of last year where we conceded in the first 20 seconds. Gundogan just fucking shattered our dreams even before we could like put down our beers, and get comfortable in our seats. It was horrible. So at the rate that we are going, and this is no fault to Ten Hag or anything, but I'm just hoping that nearing that time, we're gonna have a lot of players back from injury or critical players that we really need in that squad. Because currently, right now, we're playing with 2 left backs, in that defensive back 4, and as what was a midfielder and 1 true centre back. Because we're literally playing Casemiro as a centre back with Harry Maguire, and then we're playing 2 right backs. Sorry. We're playing 2 right backs in the setup with the low and Wan-Bissaka. So it's horrible. It's bad. Yesterday I saw a training video that pissed me off. The duo are back, Martial and what you call his face, Johnny Evans. I'm like, so what? There are 4 games left to the season. Why are you making this like it's good news for us? Like it's halfway during the season. Like, oh yeah, that. Now we can make it into top 4. Now we can win FA Cup. Like, fuck you guys in your stupid training video showing us Martial and Johnny Evans. Like, what are they going to do for us in these last 4 games and then in the final? Fuck your name. I was genuinely pissed, Ben, when I saw United actually had the audacity to upload that video saying Martial and Thing are back, knowing very well these are players that are not going to be part of this team next season. What's the point? Who cares? Who honestly cares at this stage of the season that they are back? Who cares? They haven't been there for us the whole fucking season. I don't care. I love Martial, but you think I care? You think I'm making noise right now that Martial? Ben, 4 games left.
Evans.
Nah, fam.
Evans.
Nah, fam. I don't care. For me, Evans being back doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't ease me. It doesn't make me feel at peace. Like, oh, thank God, now I want to have Evans and Maguire in our center. Like, nah, fam. Nah. That does nothing for me, fam. Nothing. I'd rather even still have Casemiro playing alongside Harry Maguire. It does 0 for me, fam. Zero. And you know what? Maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe I am overreacting. But for me, I'll feel more comfortable if someone like Varane was ready to start against City in the final. Johnny Evans does not give me any confidence about him starting in the final. You know what's even more pissing off, Ben? In that same week, motherfucking Leicester have been promoted back into the Premier League. I'm like, what's going on? Why does God hate me this week? You know? But anyway, a story for conversations for another time. You know? Motherfucking Leicester. You're supposed to stay there for a minute, you know? Back in the Premier League.
I forgot. Your fucking nemesis, you hate Leicester.
Fam. I can't stand it, fam.
Back, motherfucker.
Well,
scoring
dude, irritating. But anyway, why this game?
Oh fuck! Why is he talking about Leicester?
Yeah.
Oh, I get it.
But yeah, man. But this game, it holds. It's very huge to this season, right?
Yeah.
And not just for the sake of us being in the final and a last ditch attempt for us to win silverware, but it's almost like a last ditch attempt for Ten Hag to keep his job, and that's what's really irritating and pissing me off. That the media, you know, and even your boy Gary Neville, who you hate, you know, it's also part of this conversation of, you know, this is Ten Hag's last ditch attempt, because even like in the interview, he also put that across to say like, do you feel that, you know, this is your last ditch attempt to save your career at the club? You know, it's like win it or and it's literally a mission impossible. Literally a mission impossible, because it's not like we're going into the final against like a Villa, or I don't even want to mention Arsenal, because you know what, I've been disrespecting Arsenal too much. I give them that. I can't say anything about Arsenal this season, especially what we have been going through. So it's not like we're going into a final against a team that we can say, you know what, we can stand a chance of doing something there. But of fact, we're going against City. You know, and I know a lot of fans, United fans, don't want to acknowledge that City are probably the most, you know, strongest team in Europe, ahead of everybody. You know what I mean? They're a force. You know what I mean? We're not going to go into this final being ignorant and saying, oh, because the United derby, blah, blah, blah. Listen, this is City. You know what I mean? De Bruyne has just kicked himself into gear 2. You know, he's also starting to get back into his stride, you know, before the end of the season. Haaland is now also starting to find his feet again. Let's not even forget about Phil Foden, because I think he's a player that's very overlooked. And this guy has just been scoring bangers against us in previous games. You know, he's the one who has actually been putting the most goals against us than Haaland in the past probably 4 games that we've met City. You wanted to say something about Foden?
He's my player of the year, player of the season.
Yeah. So for me, like going into this match saying that this is Ten Hag's last ditch attempt, nah, fam. I'm not comfortable with that narrative. You know, I'm really not comfortable, because I know they're still going to find an excuse. Even if we win the FA Cup, they're gonna downplay it in some stupid way and say no, but Haaland hasn't been good this season. De Bruyne just came out of injury. You know, all of this, all of that.
Actually, I was going to say, City, though they are the strongest in Europe, something about them has dropped. I don't know what it is. I watch them and you can just tell something has dropped. Now that doesn't mean they're not a fucking force. Like if you go there,
exactly. And they don't have and they don't have near to the amount of injuries that we have. They have a proper first team fit and ready to fire. Let's not even talk about their bench. You know, like those guys can put out literally any team that they want to go with. They can either start Doku, Grealish, Foden, Bernardo. Bam! They just have options for days, and they're just gonna run riot against us. So it's gonna be a very difficult match. And like I said, I just don't like this whole narrative of last-ditch attempt for Ten Hag to save his job. But with that being said, man, what are your thoughts about it? Like what these guys have to say about the situation?
Yeah, man, I'm not happy with how they go about these things. I don't like the narratives. Like I don't like the way they say that if he doesn't do this, he's gonna get sacked. If he doesn't do this, he's gonna get sacked. You know what's crazy? Like I know we are Manchester United and we are playing in the derby. I have this very overwhelming feeling that we're going to lose. And like I don't know how to deal with that. I don't know how to reconcile with that thought. Like I feel like we're going to get beaten again in this final. But then again, it's like second time in the final getting beat by the same team. Like, if anything, it like I know it's weird because a lot of people are playing down Erik Ten Hag's success getting to this final. But if he loses the final, it's gonna be like, but dude, this is the second time you're getting into this final against the same opponent. Why is it that you didn't figure something out? Why is it that you got beaten again? You know. So in this game, I'm really looking to the boys.
Yeah.
Like this game is the boys need to win this game fast.
Yep.
The coach can put the best team that he thinks will go there and do the job, but it all comes down to the boys.
Yep.
The boys, I like, they need to dig deep. But I don't know what these guys need to do. If they have to go and sleep in the graveyards and pray, I don't know. Go do something together, I don't know.
Yeah.
But if they really, really want this, it has to come from them.
Yeah.
There's no other way.
Yeah.
Those moments, I remember that season where Roberto Carlos scored against Man City. I think it was Marcia and Roberto Carlos who scored. I think we beat them 2-1 at the Etihad.
Yeah.
And that game, like we've always said, all the games that we've played City, we've beat them. We've been on it.
Yeah.
Like we've seen it from the start of the whistle that we look like we are going to be a problem today. It has to be like that. That's the only way I can see us doing something is from the kickoff. The boys show us that version of themselves.
Yeah.
Sit back with ease and be like, you know what? All right, City, vamos.
Yeah. Yeah.
Vamos. You guys won last week. Let's go. But then the guys are going to play or put up a performance like they did against Coventry.
Yeah.
My friend.
That's the scary thing.
We're going to play Palace. Palace are on it. Yeah? They're on it this season. Like, even right now, they're going through a good run of games. It's going to be like the acid test as well to see where we are, where our players are. Because, on paper, we should beat Crystal Palace. We should.
Yeah.
I'm talking like you when I'm like, nah, one more. Sheffield United.
Yeah.
See, we should, but our boys need to step up. So I don't know.
And you know what? Honestly, you know what? And I know a lot of people are gonna disagree to what I'm about to say next and say, nah, it's unorthodox, not fair, this and that, what. I think we need to throw City a curveball. I think Ten Hag just needs to be like, you know what? This is the final, could be my last final at United. Let me just throw a spanner in the works and throw City off their game completely. And I think he should go with an unorthodox setup. He should start Diallo because they'll probably be expecting Anthony or Rashford to be starting. Start motherfucking Diallo. Start Garnacho. Start Rasmus. You know what I mean? Start these players that City are not preparing for, because these guys are not going to prepare for players like Diallo, because Diallo's not going to be playing. You'll probably come in as a sub later or whatever. You know what I mean? But just be fucking unorthodox about it. In fact, you know what? I wouldn't even mind if he goes as far as starting Scott McTominay over Rasmus in that number 9 position, just to fuck with it. And just to be like, Scott, number 9, Garnacho, Diallo, let's go. Bruno, you know what I mean? Fucking put in Eriksen and Kobe Mainu, you know what I mean? And then do whatever he needs to do at the back four. Fuck it. Let's just, you know what I'm saying? Let's just throw it.
Worked this season,
Exactly.
Exactly. Same.
Yes.
And frustrated.
Yeah.
We've wanted these youngsters that you're mentioning should start to come on earlier, or at least start games, and then they don't.
Exactly.
Start them. I back that. I do. I do.
Because I mean,
like you said, City are going to train for Rashford. They're going to train for Anthony.
Yes.
Kyle Walker is there busy squatting, looking at Anthony's picture.
Picture. Exactly.
He doesn't know what he's going to face
Yeah, he doesn't know Diallo's game. He doesn't know Scrum and Tomini as a number 9. You know what I mean? They don't know these guys in these positions, and then it could work out to our advantage. And like I said, this game, there's nothing backing us that we're gonna win. So if worse comes to worse, he can always bring in the usual players, later on into the game. But I'm saying, fucking start this unorthodox team, and let's see what happens.
Backfires. That's where the problem will be.
No, 100%.
People are not going to receive it well.
Obviously.
I think that the downfall or the criticism or the consequences of that are going to be major.
Yeah, they'll be monumental.
It could be one of those moments where he can even get sacked.
Yeah.
Like crazy.
Hey, man. You gotta risk it.
You made my brain think, man. Like, I'm like, I like that.
Yeah, man. But what are your, like, let's, quick 30 seconds. What are your predictions? 30 seconds.
For the final?
Yeah. 30 seconds.
It's gonna be the same score, 2-1.
Okay.
2-1. Yeah. I just don't know who.
Yeah.
Because I do trust the boys. I do believe Martial will be there because Martial has got a thing about scoring against Man City.
Yeah.
So if he somehow makes a cameo in that game, I wouldn't put it past him to cause them a little bit of trouble. In fact, I think Man City don't like Martial. Martial always gets a penalty against Man City. He's a menace. So I would like to see Martial do his thing there. Rashford, if he's on it, I would wish and hope he could be on it. Thing is, I can't trust him. I don't trust him.
Yeah.
See, I don't trust Rashford this season. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't. Last season, oh my God. Last season, Rashford, go. Play. You want to play all the games? My God, do it. You want to do it?
Yeah.
I don't trust him. So this derby, I really don't trust Rashford with any kind of responsibility. I would rather he comes off the bench. But even off the bench this season, I thought that was going to spark something in him. It didn't.
Yeah.
Like even when he comes off the bench, it's just for like 10 seconds and then disappears. It's like, man, I really don't know what's going on with Rashford, bro. That annoys me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I hear you. I hear you. Okay.
What about you?
Man, this is tough. It's tough. I'm conflicted. You know what I mean? I'm conflicted. My head is telling me that City is gonna smash us. You know what I mean? Like it's not even gonna be. It's gonna be a joke how we're gonna lose. But my heart.
Really?
Yes.
Before you get to your heart, your head is telling you that, eh?
Yeah, my head will get smacked. It's gonna be a joke. That's what my head is telling me. It's going to be an absolute joke. The way United have just declined in these past games, I'm just seeing like these guys just laughing on the pitch, smacking us up. Honestly, that's my head. My heart is telling me that because of the way Bruno's been performing of late, I think he's just manifesting this final.
He's manifesting the Magnifico.
Exactly. And my heart is telling me that Bruno is somehow going to carry this team and win the FA Cup final for us. What the score is going to be, I don't know, but I think it's going to all boil down to Bruno Fernandes, and that's it.
I love when they speak so nicely about my captain. Man, you have no idea how much I love Bruno.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny, dude? There's some crazy stats for you here. Let me just quickly. Ever since Bruno came to Manchester United, he has been leading top in all the leagues. Created.
Yeah.
That is a big fucking deal. People are gonna diminish it because I'm like, oh, so what's happening to the chances? Fortunately for us, we don't have the players to put away those chances. But it already shows you the kind of player that we have.
True.
Bruno Fernandes is having a shit season while his numbers are still on par with somebody that's having an amazing season.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
And again, in a Manchester United side that has been plagued by injuries, by shit, by what?
Yeah.
I don't understand how Bruno is still getting flagged. Like, Yes, his Hollywood pass didn't make it. Yes, he didn't do that thing. Are you seeing this motherfucker on this pitch? What he's doing? Are you seeing that this guy is here week in, week out? He's playing every time, 90 minutes. He wants to rack. Man, I don't know. Like what you said was beautiful, bro. I loved what you said about Bruno. That right there, adding him into your prediction, like I agree with you. I do.
All right, man.
Bruno
is 100%. But yeah, man, time to wrap this show up. You know, it's been a good one. Really enjoyed the talking points. I think I just wanted to wrap up real quick. I want us to make a prediction now because there are 4 games to go. And then from there we can come back later at the end of the season and talk about these predictions. Obviously, like I said, we're sitting at 6th. I don't know how far off we're sitting from the top. I don't know if you have the table in front of you. I don't know if there's any chance. Yeah. Have a look and just tell me if there's any chance of us making it into top 5. So I'm gonna iron out my predictions real quick right now. So I think United are finishing 7th, end of the season, and that's it. Yeah, I think we still need to face Arsenal. I think Arsenal are gonna smack us up. Arsenal are they've activated beast mode. I think because here's the way I see it. If we beat Arsenal, Arsenal are winning the league, right? But at the same time, there's never
Arsenal's not winning this league.
Yes, but remember, I think they're just a point behind City, if I'm not mistaken. So for me, the way I'm looking at it,
they're a point above.
That point
a game more. They played a game more.
Yes, they played a game more than
80.
Yes.
79.
Yes.
They played 34 games. They played 35.
Yes. City. I thought they were square this time, and I thought City were on top. But either way, I'm seeing it one of two ways, right? We beat Arsenal, they don't win the league. But just looking at Arsenal this season, I just feel like there's never been a season where I feel Arsenal deserve to win the league. And trust me, I'm vomiting internally just saying it. You know, I don't like that I'm saying that Arsenal, you know what I mean? But I feel like Arsenal, I think this is their season. I honestly think this is Arsenal's season. Yeah, and I think, so I think if they smack us up, something's going to happen with City along the way. Even though they have a game in hand, I think something will happen with City along the way, and Arsenal will go ahead and win the league. So, and I think them winning the league is, and I think Arteta knows, and I think he's really planning for that game against United. So that Arsenal game, I think that's going to be more difficult than the FA Cup final, to be honest.
Yeah,
I honestly believe that one.
In our groups, in the football groups, like I keep on telling even Ross, your brother, we are going to spoil your party. I don't know why.
I also have that feeling. I also have that feeling.
We are playing Arsenal when we are playing them at the time that we are playing them.
Exactly.
And I just have this thing that we're going to spoil the party. He doesn't. It's fine. Until we get smacked up until the end of the whistle, cool. But I'm confident about that thing. I don't know why.
I'm not. I think for me, Arsenal, I've never seen these guys more hungry. I've never seen them more hungry to win the league. And for me, I'm like, we're not letting United get in the way of us winning the league. And that's why I'm really scared for that Arsenal game more than I'm scared for that FA Cup final. I think that game, they're going to be I think that's probably the most ruthless we're ever going to see Arsenal play this season. I think they're going to come all guns blazing and say, you're not stopping us today. Forget it.
I think we're going to get a point. Either we draw or we win. But there's no way Arsenal's beating us like that. No way. No chance. At home? At Old Trafford? No chance. What they did to us at the Emirates was bizarre. And I feel like they pick with them.
True. All right, look, we've got a minute to wrap up. So give me your predictions. I've said United are going to finish 7th. Where do you think United are finishing? Literally a minute.
Okay, so at the current stage, I actually think we might just make it to 5th because Tottenham, for some reason, it's crazy. I thought they were going to do the big, but they're not. They've somehow just found a way to drop points. And we are 6 points ahead of them. I don't know what games they have. I think they still have some difficult game. I don't know if they have to play City or somebody, but they have a difficult game in. So I believe they're going to catch Tottenham and probably sneak into that top 5 position.
Okay.
Because when I look at everybody else, West Ham, like the only team that's behind us that can actually steal any position from us are Chelsea,
Newcastle.
Newcastle.
Yeah.
And Newcastle are 1 point behind us. Chelsea are 3 points behind us.
Mm.
So I still think, I don't think Chelsea are. Anyway, we'll see.
Yeah.
But I think we might sneak into top 5 or remain 6th.
All right. Now, man, I hear you. Sorry to cut you off, but we really need to cut it off now. Thank you for listening again to another episode of the Catch Up. And we'll definitely catch you guys in the next episode. So, yeah, peace.
Peace.